Hey Rock Hill, this is Pastor Kyle. I'm standing right here in the Welcome Center to highlight something that we do every other week. Probably one of the coolest things that we do that most of you don't know about. Every other Thursday night from 6:30 to 7:30, we have a time of elder-led prayer for our church body. We gather together and we ask God to move and work in our midst, and we do that for an hour or so before our elders meet every other Thursday night. You know, the church is kind of a funny thing for a lot of reasons, but one of the main ones is that we're constantly stepping out and trying things that unless God shows up, they're just going to fail. They're not going to look good. I mean, we're trying to do things where we create environments where God shows up, the Holy Spirit shows up, and saves people and convicts people and opens our eyes to both our sin and the beauty of Jesus Christ. And what we find is that unless God shows up, we're just doing a lot of activities. We're keeping the machine of the church running, but we're lacking power. And we may have gifted people and slick programs, but unless God shows up, people aren't meeting Jesus. Unless God shows up, we're not being convicted of our sin and growing in our knowledge of Him. And so what God asks us to do is to ask Him, to come to Him in prayer so that we are constantly reminded it's not about us, it's not on our own power, it's not based on our own gifts, but that God is showing up to do what God is going to do. Now the good news is God delights to save. God delights to see people come to know Him, and He delights to lift up His Son, which is what we're supposed to do, which is what we're trying to do. I thought I would shoot this video in the Welcome Center because this is right now where we meet for some of the most important hours of the calendar, where we meet to pray, where we meet to simply ask God to stretch out His hand, to perform miraculous signs and wonders, to accompany the preaching of the Word, to save the friends that you and I hold dear. I think it's time to outgrow this space. I think it would be great for so many people to come and just call on the Lord to move, because we actually have relationships with people that we so long for them to see and meet Jesus, that we just come and desperately cry out to the Lord to move and to do what we can't. And so I'm hoping that we outgrow this space and that we move out into the sanctuary, or we move into some other space, because there's so many people that are asking God to move. And even more than having a ton of people, I just pray that God would move. I pray that people would meet Jesus because of Rock Hill. I pray that churches would be planted. I pray that businesses would be started. And ultimately, I pray that our city would be different because Jesus makes the biggest difference in the life of people. Thanks for your time. Hope to see you every other week on Thursday night for a specific time of prayer.